Hello everyone, Sterling White here with Sonder Investment Group, and in today's video I'm going to be going over the 4 lessons learned from this 156 unit acquisition. All right, everyone. So I'm actually in one of the units here at the acquisition where you can see updates that have been made, where there's the two-tone paint scheme where it's gray on the base and then white on the trim, and then the cabinetry, the resurfacing of that, and then also the replacement of the countertops and upgrading the appliances. So that's just a few on the interior renovations. Of course, there is additional. And also backstory I do want to give you guys that's more so a surreal experience and really shows you what is possible. Is I remember visiting this specific community as a teen, friends, and to never think one day that I would own it. So that really just shows you guys that are here, because I grew up in the inner city, single mother, fraternal twin brother, Section 8 housing, government assistance, food stamps, and to now be owning a property that I was visiting friends at just really shows you what's possible when putting in the work. So I did just want to provide you that context on that. But just going into the lessons learned, the very first one is persistence and consistency, because it took a year and a half of the owner, well, just to get in touch with one of the decision makers, and also the diligence it took to get in touch with that person. Because many times, whether you're doing a cold call, which is this all started with a cold call, or direct mail, or you're doing SEO, that it takes consistency. And then also, let's say the person ends up changing their mind whether or not they want to sell, or maybe they're not interested from the get-go, multiple follow-ups, to then it comes down to timing oftentimes, to where it now becomes a need and you're able to solve a problem to then purchase the property from them at a good price. That way it works for both parties. So that's one thing I want to mention. The second is just being conservative, because I actually made a $1 million mistake on this, meaning that the original offer that was submitted was verbal and it was accepted closer to $7 million, of which I was a little too aggressive on the rent comps of about $75. And then once it was accepted, ended up getting a second set of eyes from the property manager. In essence, is the assumption was, or the result was, Sterling, you were a little bit too aggressive by that much. So you think of $75 over the course of 156 units times 12 months. So that is a huge swing in terms of what the price in which could have paid for it. So in essence, ended up going back to the seller, and it was a very tough conversation, but ended up getting that reduction on that. So awesomeness on that. But that just comes down to there was a need from their side. They were motivated and they wanted out of the property because they wanted to do other things. And also there's some sales involved. One overarching thing, one concept that has really helped for me and mindset, I would say, is even though you are buying, you are still selling. You have to sell the other person on the other end while you're the right buyer. It's all sales and negotiations. The next lesson is the importance of team, meaning I know I'm fully aware of the mistakes not trying to do it all myself. And one thing I want to mention to you all, this is an experience share. I'm not perfect by any means. I actually still make mistakes to this day. And what I mean by having a team is on this, taking something down such as this nature, is there's a lender involved, there's an inspection, there's an inspector that really goes out and walks several units, assess any red flags that they happen to see during their inspection. There's a construction manager that walked all the units to really firm up what our budget would be to ensure that our original assumption and the underwriting that was in line. There's a property management company that helps with the due diligence. Also, there's a partner that helps with the underwriting and coordinating with the lender to get the financing. So that's what I mean, you guys, is just having the overall how vital it is to have a team. And the last but not least is to raise more than what is needed. So On this one, the budget is closer to $2 million. Yes. And that includes upgrading the playgrounds outdated, replacing the roofs, the parking lot, and then also all of the interiors as well. And then some more, of course, in the signage and the rebranding. So one thing that happened after acquisition is there was just overlook and a mishap in terms of the bid that was sent over by the vendor to replace the roofs. There's a total of 16 buildings, of which the assumption was that the bid included, because there's 12 pitch roofs and there's 4 flat roofs, that it included all of the roofs, but it did not include the flat roof. So that's one thing I always want to mention to everyone, is always to have that buffer. Luckily, we're able to in essence, in other areas, we were able to catch up on that, such as the interior renovations. We're able to get those done less than what we anticipated, so that is good as well. But always to always raise more than what is needed, and to not be aggressive in terms of renovations, because there's the thing is, expect the unexpected, because it's likely it will happen. So just wanted to share those 4 lessons with you guys. Comment below with any questions that you happen to have, and keep being awesome. Thank you so much.